I want to say a special word today to the men here who are like Jairus. The women, you can listen in and then remind the men later, okay? But Jairus, in the gospel we heard, was an important man. He was an official. He was a ruler of the synagogue. He was the one who fixed problems in the town. People came to him. He was an important man. Now, Jairus probably knew of Jesus. In the synagogue, after all, Jesus had healed a man with an unclean spirit. And they told Jesus that healing on the Sabbath broke the Sabbath rest. And Jesus shrugged. The next Sabbath in the synagogue again, he healed a man with a withered hand. And another time, Jesus had said to a paralyzed man, "Child, your sins are forgiven." Who could forgive but God alone? Jesus was blaspheming. And you knew a person by the company they keep. Well, Jesus ate with tax collectors who got rich working for the occupying Roman army. And Jesus, to top it all off, had this to say about religious leaders: hypocrites. So Jairus probably knew of Jesus and probably did not like what he knew. And then came that terrible day. His daughter was dying. Jairus had prayed. He had fasted. He had pleaded with God in heaven, and nothing changed. His daughter was still dying. Jairus made up his mind. He left the synagogue. He went to the shore of the lake where Jesus was teaching a large crowd in front of everyone. And Jairus fell at the feet of Jesus and pleaded earnestly with him, saying, "My daughter is at the point of death. Please come, lay your hands on her that she may get well and live." The whole town saw it. Jairus, the important man, had prostrated himself before Jesus, this unknown person. The whole town had heard Jairus beg that Jesus help him. Jairus did not care. His daughter was dying. Well, Jesus went with Jairus to his home. He did not make a big deal of it, did not embarrass Jairus, did not humiliate him. He simply said, "Okay," and went with Jairus to his house. And the crowd followed to see what would happen. And it got worse. The people from Jairus' house arrived and said, "Your daughter has died." Jairus had gambled and lost. He had lost his honor. He had lost his daughter. He had nothing left to lose. Well, Jesus, disregarding the message, said to Jairus, "Do not be afraid, just have faith." And then, putting the crowd out of the house, he took the child's father and mother and those who were with him, entered the room where the child was. He took the child by the hand and said to her, "Talitha cum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And the girl arose and walked around, alive. Do not be afraid, just have faith. Well, asking for help is the opposite of what we men are taught. It's difficult to admit that we can't handle a problem at work or marriage or kids or finances. We are taught to be self-sufficient and not to burden others. We're supposed to have all the answers, make sure everything is all right, provide and protect, and suck it up so others can sleep well at night. We are the ones who fix things. Asking for help, we're not good at. Moses, he was a man. Moses led the slaves out of Egypt. And what should have been a month's walk to the promised land took 40 years. Why? Well, according to the old joke, Moses, being a man, didn't ask for directions. So asking for help is not what we men are trained to do. It's the opposite of who we are. And we're not just men, we're American men. On the 4th of July, 1776, representatives of the 13 colonies signed the Declaration of Independence. It was the original Brexit. And the actual independence took years of war and a treaty, but on that July 4th, the colonies made the step to declare their independence from the King of England. They decided to form a new nation. And they wrote, and these were all men, "We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved." And we are their descendants. We are men, American men, and freedom is everything. Independence is everything. Standing on your own 2 feet is everything. So to you men who are like Jairus, I say to you, do not be afraid, just have faith. Like Jairus, you are facing a problem that you cannot solve. Like Jairus, you have prayed, you have fasted, you have pleaded with God in heaven, and nothing has changed. The problem is getting worse. Like Jairus, now is the time to bend the knee and say, "Please, come." I wrote a little book about a 6-word prayer. I can't, you can, I'm yours. I can't is admitting that you can't handle something yourself. A week ago, I woke up with a terrible pain in my side, and I got up and I was trying to figure out how to handle this pain on my own. And the next thing I knew, I woke up on the floor. I'd passed out from the pain. It turned out to be kidney stones, and after a trip to the emergency room, I'm fine, thanks be to God. But I've learned I couldn't handle a kidney stone by myself. I can't. You can acknowledge that God can handle it. And I'm yours declares your trust in God. So here's the hard part for us men. It is not enough to ask Jesus to help you with your problems while you remain in charge. You have to give it all to him. You have to give him your problem, of course, but also your car keys and passwords and cell phone and bank account and investments and health and wealth, family and friends, hopes and dreams, regrets and resentments. You have to trust him with all. And now is the time. Why waste another day? Now is the time to bend the knee and say, "Please, come." So Jairus, the important man, asked Jesus for help. He trusted him. Was it worth it? Well, for his daughter, you bet, she lived. And for those other fathers in the town in a desperate situation, those other important people who had tried to handle it all themselves, maybe the example of Jairus, just maybe, gave them the courage to say to Jesus, "Please, come." Yes, it was worth it. So with the greatest deference and respect to our founding fathers and for the sacrifices made so this country could exist, I'm calling on you, Jairuses, here today to declare the 4th of July Dependence Day. Stop trying to have a life apart from the only one who can give you life. Stop trying to be self-sufficient. It's killing you and the people you love. Instead, bend the knee before the one who loves you so much that he suffered and died for you. Accept his gift from his altar, the gift of himself. This Sunday and every Sunday is Dependence Day. We declare our dependence on our loving God. Like Jairus, we can trust everything to him. We can With the bread and wine, we bring it all to his altar, that we receive, become an offering to God himself. Do not be afraid, just have faith.